Welcome to Issues at Hand. My name is Daphne Karungi Kangave. Well, Issues at Hand is brought to you by Protea Hotel by Marriott and Teve. Well, today we have a very, very hot discussion, very beautiful discussion, because we are talking about education, early closure of schools, and a lot in the education sector right there that you don't want to miss out on. Well, today we have a very, very important guest. He is a man that holds a master's degree in education management and has established a career of over 25 years, yes, in both teaching and development work. When we talk about a man who has worked as a teacher and a head teacher, now you know we are in good hands. Well, he has a vast experience when it comes to mobilization, negotiation, lobbying, advocacy, and is actively involved in the education development work at union, national, and regional level. You may be asking yourself, who is that? Well, we have Mr. Filbert Baguma, the General Secretary of the Uganda National Teachers Union, UNATU. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you. It is such an honor, for sure. I want you to greet our viewers before you tell us who Mr. Baguma is.
Yes, good morning, viewers. I am Baguma Filbert Bates, the General Secretary, Uganda National Teachers Union, commonly known as UNATU. I am glad to be hosted here for the first time.
Oh, wow.
I had not been here before.
It's such an honor.
And meeting you.
Oh, wow. Thank
you. Yeah.
Well, that is Mr. Filbert right there. And like he has told you, he's the General Secretary of UNATU'S. So we have so many questions. Someone is asking themselves, what is UNATU? Why UNATU? What are the objectives? Why should we even be listening to him? Oh, Mr. Filbert, I'm going to ask you to help us bring our viewers up to speed. You know, very few of us do like.
Yes. Uganda National Teachers Union is a body that brings together teachers from primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions.
Okay.
Basically, we stand for two major goals, where we look at the protection and promotion. The question is, what do we protect and what do we promote?
Yeah.
Now, we promote the cause of education development in the country because we know you cannot have teachers without learners.
Yes.
And vice versa. Then we protect the legitimate rights of teachers as workers. In this country of ours, we have got a constitution.
Yes.
And in this constitution, the framers of the constitution saw to it that the workers need to come together. And therefore, in chapter 4 of the 1995 constitution, clause 29 talks about freedom of association. But when you go to article 40, specifically clause 3 about the economic rights, that's where we have clause 3A talks about every worker has a right to form or join a trade union of his or her choice for the promotion and protection of the economic and social interests.
Okay.
3B talks about every worker has a right to collective bargaining and representation. And clause C, 3C, talks about every worker has a right to withdraw labor according to the laws. And therefore, when we talk about Uganda National Teachers Union, that is where we derive our mandate.
Okay.
And we talk on behalf of the teachers. We bring out the voices of the teachers.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. And now for you that doesn't know UNATU, I believe you have been brought up to speed. Yes, we are talking about the early closure. But before we go there, let's understand the role of UNATU in the ongoing national examinations.
First of all, our members
Yes.
are teachers. And during the examinations, we have our members either as scouts, as invigilators, or as supervisors.
Yes.
Now, for us as an institution, where our members are, then we must have our ears on ground
Yes.
to know what is taking place. But the management of the examinations is the mandate of Uganda National Examinations Board.
Okay.
So for us, ours is to know whether actually our members are going through the exams properly.
Okay.
We had cases in Mubende and Kasanda about transport, which was unfortunate from the beginning.
Yes.
Because you want the teachers to be in the schools and you don't have means of transport.
Yes.
Even when the teacher tries to use a border, then you arrest. But somehow the candidates are waiting for these teachers.
That is
because you
very,
cannot
very
begin
true.
an exam unless the supervisor is
Is
there.
there? Yes.
You cannot begin an exam unless the exams have reached there.
That is
But
true.
I am happy the security personnel rectified the issue, and now exams are going on well. Although they started a little bit late
Yes.
in the Mubende and Kasanda because of the heavy downpour yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, when we talk about the role of teachers during these ongoing examinations, we know that, like you have said, most of them are either scouts or invigilators or supervisors, we can say. And we have heard cases of malpractices, and of which some teachers and head teachers have been implicated. I don't know what you have to say on that.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate situation. First of all, our training condones, actually condemns any form of unprofessionalism. And therefore, when we are handling these exams, we are supposed to remain professional. You have taught the learners. You have prepared them for the examinations.
Yes.
Now, there is no reason why you should be tempted again to go and support them during the exams.
Yes.
And that's why even the UNEB Act has been amended, and they have put tougher laws.
Yes.
So that if you are caught in examination malpractice,
Yes.
then you have to face the law. We are still struggling with an endless investigations during exams. When there is a malpractice, then they have to investigate, and sometimes you go into other exams when the investigations are not yet done. But that will be solved the moment we fully implement the National Teachers Policy.
Okay.
We are supposed to have a National Teacher Council. Now, this National Teacher Council will regulate the profession.
Okay.
So if you are found to have involved yourself in examination malpractice, now this professional body will not need to go to police and do what? They will take a position and punish you as a teacher.
Okay.
And therefore, we shall minimize those cases
On such
of
cases.
examination malpractice, which we condemn in the strongest terms. Because the people who engage in examination malpractice, you will hear them tomorrow jubilating.
I
We have
know.
excelled.
We taught well.
Now the question is, who excelled? Is it the learner or the teacher?
Or the teacher.
Yes, so we condemn that, and we thank those who are really trying to make sure that the exams are done in the best way,
Yes.
so that we don't have those who are copying. Because, you know, when you copy, the innocent one will be seen not to have done well.
Oh, yes.
And then you are jubilating that you have excelled, when in actual sense,
It's treachery.
Yeah.
Well, when you talked about teachers or students being the ones that have excelled because of malpractice, I'm reminded of the appreciations that are usually given to teachers whose students did well in particular subjects. You see the math teacher being jubilated. So I think it's one of the reasons that's why these teachers really get involved, because they want to get false appreciation right there. And then today's New Vision had an article actually about it's at a school in Kasese. Was it New Vision or Monitor?
Monitor.
Yes, Monitor. A school in Kasese that had only 5 pupils and 12 teachers. So I was asking myself, what is your jurisdiction and how far do you go when it comes to monitoring? Because we know that teachers are supposed to be more. The ratio is supposed to be higher than those of students. And then I also stay asking myself, are there few pupils because the teachers are not doing their job, or are there more teachers simply because they are ghost teachers, they're not doing anything, they're just lousy to get paid? What do you have to say on that one, Civil?
First of all, it
Yes.
is an unfortunate situation, but there are push and pull factors, especially when it comes to school enrollment. You might find the location of the school itself, then the record of performance of the school, then the parents and guardians themselves may actually pull out the learners. But this is an extreme case.
Too extreme.
When I first got it, I had to inquire from our structures, and they told me, yes, it is true. Now, we need to dig out and find out exactly how many learners used to be there.
In the school, yes.
Where did they go? And why did they choose to leave the school?
Yes.
Because before you know it, even the 5 will have to go.
Yeah.
Because you cannot sit in a room when you are 1 or 2 and you get demoralized.
That
and
is
they
true.
will soon go and the school will be closed. So for example, like now, saying the teachers are redundant, let's remove them, and that will make the situation worse.
Yeah,
There is a need to study the situation, know exactly what happened, and find a solution.
that is true.
So that you start afresh and make sure the school comes up. There are a number of cases. This is a worst case scenario.
Yes.
But there is where you find that a school had, let's say, 1,000 learners. Over time, you find the school is going to 150 or 100. That is not different from such a school.
No,
And
it's
therefore, we need to find out, and every time these cases are happening, we need not to wait
That is true.
until we reach this end. Otherwise, there should be monitoring
Yes.
and finding out why are the learners moving, where is the problem, and then we address the problem and move on. Yes.
Yeah, like what you're saying, really, it's very, very important, because when you look at the picture that is provided in the paper, there are blocks. So that means those blocks had been put up for a number of students. They couldn't have started with 5. Like you are saying, it's important that we get to the grassroots of this, and I'm glad that you are working on it. And now this brings me to the new government directive to have teachers at degree level and
Yes.
phasing out certificates and a diploma. I have seen many react another way about it, because even as teachers, I know that we are supposed to be upgrading and getting better, but then there are those who are also comfortable in wherever they had gotten. What do you think about this?
First of all, of
Yes.
course, people are reacting, but I don't know whether they have taken keen interest in studying the whole document.
Yes.
This is coming as a result of the national teacher policy. Now, in this national teacher policy, there is a provision that the minimum qualification of a teacher should be a degree.
Yes.
Now, we have a challenge in this country. When you have a degree and you don't perform to the expectations, then people blanketly say even degrees are not any different from certificates. But that is
it's
a
about
fallacy.
the output.
That is a fallacy.
Output.
We are supposed to look at making things better.
That is true.
So whether a certificate, whether a diploma, whether a degree, the quality of it must stand out.
That is
And that is what we need to appreciate. Because you can have masters, you can have PhD, but if the quality of the training is still lacking,
yes.
then we shall have no difference.
Yes.
So we are looking at this degree, but also improving the quality of the training.
Yes.
First of all, not every teacher can train teachers. We are supposed to have qualified teacher trainers.
Yes.
To train teachers. Then teachers go and facilitate the teaching learning process. But the challenge is you will find a teacher. I am trained to be a teacher.
Yes.
Then I am training other teachers. That is not right.
The blind leading the blind.
So we need to do things right.
Yes.
Now, these issues of what we inherited from the colonial masters have continued to confuse us. Look at the nomenclature. You have a teacher, you have a tutor, you have a lecturer, you have an instructor, but they are all facilitating the teaching learning process.
Yes.
And that brings in divisionism. Now of recent, you have had science, arts.
Right there.
All
right there.
that is not necessary in the teaching learning process.
Yes.
What we need to see is to see a teacher as a facilitator of the teaching learning process.
Yes.
And regardless of where you are teaching, you are facilitating the teaching learning process. Someone comes up and says, why should a nursery teacher possess a degree? Now, a nursery teacher and someone who is in the tertiary institution, who should have the best?
Definitely the foundation
Because the nursery learner
yes.
has an empty slate almost.
Yes, yes.
And therefore, this is the foundation.
Foundation is very key.
You are having this building. If it is on a shaky ground, if it is on a shaky foundation,
it cannot
do you say I have a building? And therefore, if anything, the quality, the concentration should be
on
at
the
that
grassroots
lower level.
Yes.
Now the question is, people think, because that is the thinking of many stakeholders. They think in a nursery there is not much that is being done. They think it is singing
and jumping and
that
all.
is you
and
see,
it's not true. Yeah.
even before COVID-19, people used not to attach importance on the work the teachers do.
That is very.
So when
very true.
COVID-19 came and the schools were closed, we were in lockdown, the children went back home. You heard how the parents and the guardians were crying. When are they opening schools? When are they reopening schools? Then they started looking for teachers everywhere.
Yes.
And that brought a new chapter, that people started appreciating the work
teachers.
which the teachers do. You even saw what the learners went through throughout.
Yes.
Pregnancies, all those.
Yeah.
Now, it was proved beyond reasonable doubt that the learners are safer
With
in school
yeah.
with the teachers
Yes.
than at home with their parents and guardians.
Oh, wow.
And therefore, the issue of the degree, we are not only looking at a degree, but
the
we are
quality.
looking at the quality.
Yes.
So that we have a teacher who is confident
Yes.
and who does not live in inferiority complex. Because it is rare, if you go out there, you will find a teacher taught a lawyer, taught a doctor,
Oh, yeah.
taught an engineer, taught an accountant, but it is rare to find them seated on one table like this. Why? There is that feeling.
Yeah, that they're lesser.
Now, having the teaching profession as the mother of all professions,
Yes.
then we must remove that business of inferiority complex.
Yes.
And we have the teaching profession in line with other professions,
Yes.
and have a better teaching and learning process that fits within the 21st century.
Well, when you say that, Mr. Filbert, thank you so much. It brought me to this science and arts teachers first. Honestly speaking, every joint supplies. This one helps the other. You cannot have math without English. Definitely, you cannot. And if you think you are accountant, you are bigger than a teacher, then you do not know where you got it from. And when you spoke of, before I go to the first, when you spoke of the quality, it took me back to the malpractice. You see, many are being doctored to have very good results, and yet they have not really passed. So you can have somebody, like you said, with a degree, and yet that degree was doctored. It's not genuine. So it is the quality, really, that we should be looking at. And now the first, because it brings a division. I don't know what your mind is for you to tell our viewers on the same when it comes to science teachers, arts teachers. Do you think this shall come to an end because the government has really put their science teachers on a pedestal to the point that we have seen head teachers saying, let us go and teach instead of being head teachers so that we can get that good money? I want to hear from you, really.
If there is any worst decision this government has ever made in terms of education in this country,
Yes.
it was that very one. And the earlier they sort it out, the better.
The better.
Because they will be on record. The cabinet will be on record
Yes.
for killing education in this country. Imagine a learner in A level who is taking MEG, a teacher of mathematics. When paid the salary, he can pay the teacher of economics,
Yes.
pay the teacher of geography, pay the teacher of general paper, and remain with the balance.
Oh, wow.
They are all teaching this student to pass.
Oh, wow.
Now, humanly, even if you are too religious, when you are meeting this person getting out of the classroom and you are entering, it
How would
will
you look
come
at them?
to you because you remain a human being.
Yes.
And therefore, these people sit in the same staff room. They teach the same learners,
Yes.
students. They are supposed to interact. Now that is no longer there. We have a divided staff room. We have limited communication among the teachers.
That is really sad.
We have a group that is highly motivated and a group that is highly demotivated.
Demoralized. Yes.
And therefore, where does the effect go?
On the students.
It is on the students.
Yes.
And therefore, we don't need to mince words. Government must rectify
it.
this mistake if they want to again tell us that education is part of their priorities.
Oh, yes.
Because if not, then we should not expect much from education.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, oh wow. And you've said it well. When you have a divided staff room, honestly, there's an African proverb, we were laughing about it recently, but we see it, where when the elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. No, when the teachers are not seeing eye to eye, definitely, it's the students that are going to suffer. And it's going
Actually,
to come back.
it is not
worse.
only not only the teachers, but the entire public service.
Yes.
Because a teacher can pay the cow and the DO
Oh my goodness.
put together.
Oh wow.
The human resource officer who is working on the payrolls and so on. They can pay 3 human resource officers. And therefore, the situation is not good. The head teachers and the deputies are supposed to teach.
Yes.
A head teacher is supposed to teach 6 lessons a week. A deputy is supposed to teach 12 lessons a week. That's why you had them say, now why should I go for promotion when actually a classroom teacher
Earns
is
more than
earning
I.
more, and I am supposed to be in a school for 24 hours because I have teaching and administrative role. So they are normally, the DO and the inspector added together cannot make the salary of one teacher.
Oh, wow.
So it is something that anybody who wishes well education in this country
Needs to
must
look
get
into.
interested in.
Yes.
And this should be rectified sooner
With immediate
than
effect.
later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Filbert. And I know that we are listening because this is very, very, very important, because the education sector actually determines a lot in the economy of a country. Because if we have lukewarm people that are doing accounts, really, what should we be doing here? We are still talking about the closure of schools and schools at large, the education system here in Uganda. And our guest is very wonderful, Mr. Filbert Baguma, the General Secretary of UNATU. Well, we've gotten into nice discussions. For you that has missed, you must find it on YouTube. But right now, I want us to get into the new curriculum. Mr. Baguma, what you think of it? Actually, when it was brought up, so many teachers were hesitant to embrace it, saying it's very hard, time consuming, we don't have time to prepare. Know that. And because you are their boss, I want to hear from you. What do you say about the new curriculum?
Yeah, thank you very much. The new curriculum for lower secondary, of course, when it came at a time when the teachers had not been properly sensitized. And that is normally where the problem is. Because the teachers are implementers of any education reform.
Yes.
And therefore, it is paramount that you take them through, you sensitize them.
Yes.
So that they have the ownership of this new reform. And that is where there was a missing link. The curriculum itself, of course, we have been having the curriculum which is not ours. Even where we are not yet there.
Yes.
And possibly that explains why we have a lot of unemployment.
Yes.
And yet we have products who have gone through the school system, but we are still concentrating on the white collar jobs. And therefore, this new curriculum for lower secondary
Yes.
is creating avenues, preparing the learners to think and make research and develop their skills.
Yeah.
It is tasking for the teacher. Obviously, you have to put in more effort as a teacher.
Yeah.
But the curriculum itself is not a bad curriculum.
Yes.
It is not a bad initiative because we are gradually moving from where we were at the colonial time
Yes.
to something that is fitting within our environment so that we are able to produce learners whom we can feed into the labor market.
Yes.
And therefore, even now, there are preparations to also have a new curriculum for A-level.
Oh, wow.
And I want to believe that we should begin engaging universities also to come on board.
Okay.
Because if we prepare and have a new curriculum for lower secondary, a new curriculum for A-level,
Definitely,
then we
even the
must
even has to
also
change.
move to the university.
Yes.
So that these students who have gone through this new curriculum
Yes. They
feed
have a
into
provision.
programs
Yes.
that are rhyming with what they have studied.
Yes.
And therefore, it is a development in the positive direction.
Yes.
However, it is tasking on the part of the teacher.
Definitely.
And that's why the teacher's motivation, the teacher's support should be looked at so that they are not seen as neglected categories, so that they know the input they put in plus what they receive
Yes.
are not a diversion.
It has to be on a balance.
You see, we have to strike a balance.
Yes. Yes.
I need you to put in more time, more of your time.
Yes.
And therefore, if you put in more of your time,
I give you an incentive.
and you see this, the motivation part of it,
Yes.
you are facilitated to do the work. Then you also do the work with an open heart.
Oh, yes.
But if you do the work when you are really saying, but I am not seen as a priority, then you will also do the work
Lax. Yes.
in a sluggish way, which is detrimental to the education and to the students whom you are handling.
You know, you have made a very, very important point, and I hope that it's being worked on by the education sector when it comes to the sensitization of the teachers, but also training them. Because now, this being a new curriculum, that means the teachers haven't gone through that curriculum.
Actually, not only the teachers,
Yes.
but even the parents. You have had parents say, but we don't understand these reports. So we need to prepare every stakeholder
Yes.
to appreciate what we are going into and the new reforms that are coming.
Yes.
Because when they look at the report, they see two, see three, and they are like, but what is this?
Yes.
Now, it simply means we still need time to take through the stakeholders so that they also appreciate the direction we are taking and how the assessment is being done.
Well, thank you. Well, now we are getting into the closure of the schools, Mr. Filbert.
Yes.
What you have to say about the early closure of schools?
First of all, you know, we lost close to 2 years of study.
COVID, yes.
During that time, actually, when COVID-19 came,
Yeah.
it caught us off guard as a country. Because we didn't have infrastructure for online teaching learning process,
We hadn't prepared.
including the universities. Very few faculties in the universities continued to learn. The other universities now started from scratch to put in place measures of virtual learning.
Yes.
It was worse when it came to pre-primary, primary, and secondary.
Yes.
Now, we had categories of learners. You know, you saw government coming in to bring in interventions to see that there is continuity of teaching learning process.
With the radio
So you
and
saw the
TV.
radio lessons, the TV lessons, then the print materials. All these were meant to show that there is an effort being done,
Yes.
but they did not reach every learner.
That is true. Very true indeed.
And therefore, we have categories of those who continued to study.
And those who
From the well-to-do families,
Yes.
they continued to study. They even did exams. They were even promoted
That is
during
true.
lockdown and school closures.
Yes.
Then we had those who got somehow some education, either through radios or TVs. Then we have a category of those who received print materials, but they were very few, to the extent that you would get a copy in a village. Remember, even the shops were closed, so they had nowhere to photocopy from. So those were very few who accessed them.
Yes.
Now, all these categories. And then there is the unfortunate
Who didn't see anything.
who didn't see anything. So from 20th March 2020, when the schools closed, up to January 2022, when the schools reopened, for them they had nothing. Now, all these categories came to school,
Yes.
and they were put in classes
At the same time.
at the same time.
Yes.
Now, the government came up with an abridged curriculum, meaning the time we had and the content that was supposed to be covered, we could not cover this content within the time we had.
Yes.
So they had to make an abridged curriculum looking at the priority areas, and also increased the number of weeks per term. Because formerly we used to have 12 weeks in a term. Now they increased it to 14 weeks. So that we cover the lost time
Yes.
during the lockdown and school closures.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, along the way, Ebola comes in. Remember, even COVID is still around, but we somehow agreed that we can
Live with it.
we can live with it, and we have been living with it because we cannot say we are now in a post-COVID era. No, COVID-19 is still there. Now Ebola comes in. Now, when we were still under lockdown of COVID-19 and school closures,
Yeah.
they would somehow open for some classes.
Yes.
Then when they reach there, then they say, the situation is
Go
getting
back.
worse, go back. Remember, the parent has paid.
Yes. And they never refunded our money.
There is
actually.
nothing like a refund.
No, they never.
Now, we are entering the same scenario. Now, Ministry of Health comes up and advises
Yes.
that I think we need to close schools earlier. But the question that still lingers in the minds of people is, you have closed schools.
Yes.
How about the markets? How about transport? How about the churches?
How about the malls?
So where are these children going to be? And therefore, that's why we think it is not a well thought kind of decision to say you are closing. Already we have time that was lost.
Yes.
Now, if we say every epidemic, every
close.
pandemic, we have to close, what will be the solution to the teaching learning process?
Yes.
Because that means when we hear there is a pandemic, we close. When we hear there is an epidemic, we close.
We need a solution.
Now, if we were closing all other services, that would be understood. Because there you are putting control in every area.
Generally. Yeah.
But we are now looking at schools and leaving other things open, and we are all aware, even when you close them, you will find these children in the malls, in the shopping malls.
Yes.
You will find them in playgrounds playing. You will find them in trading centers. You will find them along the streets. You will find them in markets. You will find them using transport. So what will you have solved?
Done in the first
And
place.
therefore, that is where the challenge is.
Comes in.
I think we could have other means of control, especially in a school setup. When they are there, you are able to control them than when they
Movements.
are out. Because when they are out, they are free. And we saw it during COVID-19.
Yes.
And therefore, we are not opposing that they are making mistakes to put control measures. But control measures should not be selective.
Yes.
Because we have standard operating procedures,
Yes.
which they gave us, and therefore we should be following them
Yes.
and have the teaching learning process go on.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Filbert, right there. Now, quickly, because of time, oh my God, I wish I had the whole day. But should we expect an industrial action next year as schools have closed, and yet we have so many discrepancies that have not been sorted, especially to do with salaries and many others?
Obviously, if government does not solve the issue of teachers' salary, you have to expect it.
Hey.
Because there is anxiety in the school setup. I have told you what is on ground.
Yes.
The head teachers and the deputies are not comfortable. The teachers of arts are saying, why did we go to the teaching profession? And therefore, leaving that situation in the way it is committing suicide on the side of government. And the government must know that the teachers deserve better, and all teachers matter.
Oh, yes.
Therefore, the issue of dividing the teachers alongside science and arts cannot be accepted to continue like that. So industrial action will be on if government chooses to keep
To
quiet.
go on like that.
Yes.
And now, as we conclude, I want to know, what is the future of our education sector as Uganda? Seeing all this that is happening, what do you think is the future? You as an expert, you that has all these qualities of a good manager.
It is not all lost. We still can correct errors where they have been made, and then we progress and move. You see, it's a question of engaging the stakeholders, because it is not solely in the hands of government that we expect better things in education.
Yes.
Education is for us all,
Yeah.
and we have very many stakeholders, including government. And therefore, it is our responsibility as Ugandan citizens to make sure that we highlight the areas we feel and think are a danger
Yes.
to education in this country. You see, when you kill education, you have killed the country.
That is
because you may not see the consequences of the actions you make in education today,
Yes. But in the
but
long
they are
run,
far-reaching.
Yes.
And therefore, we need to raise a red flag so that tomorrow you don't say, why did you see this and you
And
didn't
you kept quiet. Yes.
tell us? You cannot say a teacher in a primary who is teaching all subjects, you say for him he is not teaching science. So if they choose not to teach, what will happen? What will the secondary school teacher get?
Yes.
So we need to look at the entire public service,
Oh, yes.
the entire teaching force, and put things right,
Yes.
and have the Ugandan children who have a right to education, which education must be provided by government and the parents to make sure that we don't deny them their constitutional right.
Thank you so much. It has been a very, very beautiful discussion. It was such an honor to have you, sir. Well, that is Mr. Filbert Baguma right there. It was Issues at Hand with me, Daphne, Karungi, Kangave, and now we know why those questions were coming about. They're not against it. They just want to protect our children because UNATU is about protecting and promoting, depending on who they are protecting or promoting. Well, stay with Family TV. More to come your way. You don't want to miss even a bit. Stay right here. We love you. Enjoy your day.